stocks can be an asset and realizing that certain things like some of your shopping addictions are actually liabilities. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. So today's video is another one in the money segment, and today we're going to be learning about stocks from a beginner's perspective. If you're wondering who am I to talk about that, so I have 6 figures in the bank, so I know a thing or two about growing my portfolio as a beginner. I just want to put a small little disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. The information I'm giving is just for educational purposes only. It's just for entertainment. Take this information at your own risk. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, there's 5 things that I want to talk about. I broke this video down as simple as I possibly could because I was like, you know what? I've been talking about this with some of my close friends, and I just thought, you know what? If it's helpful for them, I feel like it could be really helpful for my Cobra babies. Without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo. Okay, so the first one is understanding the difference between what is an asset versus what is a liability. And that's actually one of the first things I ever learned. I learned all of the things that I'm talking about today actually from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. So if you want like a supplementary read, I would highly recommend his book. There's some good things and some bad things, but like if you don't know anything about money, I think it's like a great place to start. So yeah, let's get to talking about what is an asset. So an asset is anything that puts money back into your pocket, and then a liability is anything that costs you money. And I think like that's the most vague definition, but that can definitely help a lot with understanding that like stocks can be an asset and realizing that certain things like some of your shopping addictions are actually liabilities, and that things like you might not have known are technically considered liabilities depending on how it's used. Your house could be a liability if it doesn't make you money, but it always costs you money at the end of the month. Your car is usually a liability unless you figured out a way to like rent it out and make money off of it. So I think understanding that nuance can really help a lot, because when I first started, I actually didn't even know of this concept. I didn't know things could be liabilities and things could be assets. You can use money and buy things that are assets that like generate more money. And like for me, that was stocks. When I started buying stocks and seeing that like it paid me out dividend at the end of the month, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I was like, I just bought something that made me money. This is wild. And that's kind of how my stock buying fire journey started. So okay, so coming in at number 2, so like what is a stock? So a stock is just like a portion that the company offers for the public to buy. So for companies that are IPO'd or are on the stock market, they offer like own a part of the company, and that's what the stock is. And the value of the stock changes with like how many people buy and how many people sell that company, or the evaluation of that company, which pretty much just means, do people think this company is valuable or not, as it is as a representation of how profitable the company is, like on a very surface level. So you can buy the stock of like anything technically that's like on the stock market available for like public consumption. There's also like private equity, so like there are companies that you can buy but privately and they're not publicly traded, but we're not going to get into that because I think this is a video for like beginners, so we're not going to make this more complicated than it needs to be. So some companies that you probably adore and love, you can buy Apple if you wanted. Maybe you have an iPhone. Maybe you really like using YouTube. You could buy Google. Google owns Apple. Maybe you really like wearing Nike shoes. You could buy a part of Nike. And how to do that, you would like open an investing account with like your bank, and then you would use the ticker, which is like the stock name. It's usually a code that's like usually pretty clever and cute. So like for example, the company Berkshire, this is their code, BR something. Or like for example, Amazon, it's AMZN. They're usually like smaller abbreviations of the company, but not always necessarily. And you just input that there, and then you could say how many shares you want to buy. And yeah, that's pretty much that's pretty much it. I hope I made that simple, or I hope I didn't make that too like overly simple, but I think that's kind of the gist. All right, so coming in at number 3, something else worth knowing about that I actually didn't know for a really long time. So I was buying stocks, I think for almost 7 years before I learned what an ETF was. Isn't that wild? So I'll share that with you guys because ETFs have always confused me as well. So ETFs, you can understand it as a basket of stocks or investment packages. I'll put the definition for an ETF here because I don't even know quite exactly how to define it, but here's the definition according to Google of what an ETF is. But I think more importantly than like the def, but like how do you use that? So some more commonly or more popular ETFs within the community are Vanguard's VOO, which tracks the S&P 500. Another popular one is the VTI. So this is Vanguard's version of the total international market. And there's also QQQ. So this is Invesco's like tech growth stock. So it's like more heavy in like growth stocks. So there's definitely a lot more volatility. But you might be wondering, what is the advantage of buying an ETF versus just like a regular stock? So the way that I understand it is when you buy the basket, they always take things in and out of the basket, but you own the basket. So it doesn't matter if, like, say for example, the fruit or the stock in there rots or falls out, it gets replaced with something else. So you don't get as much upside from like owning individual stocks, but in exchange, you get a lot more safety, which is why they always say the average investor should invest in regular ETFs. If you feel like getting a little bit more spicy, I think you can definitely own a certain amount and maybe not your whole portfolio with regular stocks. And of course, all of these are like long term. I will talk about short term in a quick sec in point 5, but generally speaking, that is kind of the difference between an individual stock versus like an ETF, even though technically they're things you can buy on the stock market. Okay, so let's talk about number 4, long-term hold versus short-term hold, and how long is long and how short is short actually varies. So long-term on the whole, generally speaking, is like you hold for like a couple months to a couple of years is generally like long-term. Some people even argue buy and hold for life. The more you'll learn about stocks, the more you'll learn about that. But that's what long-term is, as opposed to like short-term. So short-term can also be called like trade swinging, which is like you only hold it for like a couple weeks. And they can be as short as a couple seconds. And then that takes us into day trading. Day trading and trade swinging, those are like what you might think of when you think of people are like, I'm in the stock market. They're like buying and trading. They're buying the difference of the stock. Like the stock goes up, they gain that up. The stock market went down. Okay, so like they busted. And I don't day trade. Like I have looked into it because I did want to learn certain principles about how trades move in order to help me with my long-term stocks, like what entry point I want to do. But let's talk number 5. So day trading principles that I think are very useful. I don't day trade, or at least currently I don't at the time of this filming, but some points that I think could really help with like be really helpful on understanding how to understand like stocks on the whole. One thing that I would recommend is understanding like Fibonacci sequences, Elliott waves, lines of regressions, and how to read candles. Fibonacci sequences is this idea that like things in nature follow a natural order. I won't explain too deeply into it because again, this video is just about like stocks, but it's helped me a lot with understanding entry points. I used to be really nervous. I'm like, is this a good time to buy a stock? Is this is this not? But luckily we have good tech on our side. So you could even literally just go to ChatGPT, ask it for this stock, what's the Fibonacci sequence? And it'll show you. Usually you want to buy in at 0.68. Again, not trying to be super technical. If you want more info on it, you can definitely check it out. But I like using the Fibonacci sequence to kind of have an idea when's a good time to enter. Sometimes I may be like, is this stock kind of expensive, or it's kind of cheap, I don't know if I should buy it, and that has helped me a lot. The other one is an Elliott wave. So this is kind of like the Elliott wave is in relation to the resistance and like change of character. So this is kind of like if something's been trading sideways or like the price has been kind of stagnant for a period of time and you're like, is it going to go up, is it going to go down, what direction is it going to go in? An Elliott wave could kind of help with that using mathematical probabilities. You don't need to do the math or anything like that. You literally just be like, you could either use TradingView to run these, or you can even use chat. There's a lot of videos out there on how to do those things on the whole, but those are some good day trading principles that I've used to kind of like help me analyze stocks. And the other thing is, and I guess I should put in bonus number 6, you don't have to know necessarily about like how companies operate or reading like company sheets, but I do know that it is really popular with people who do invest long term. It is really helpful to learn how to read those things or interpret the news or their like earnings reports to kind of make more informed decisions. Obviously, as an investor, you should always do your own research, but you don't necessarily need to do those things if you feel like, oh, I'm intimidated and I don't want to get into stocks. Do some research, but understand that like that is just a component of it. At the end of the day, if you interact with a product a lot, that's enough for you to be able to buy and support the company. Because think about it this way. Warren Buffett once said, I don't buy stocks of things that I don't understand. So no one's asking you to go buy the stock of like an airline company you've never gone on. Don't do that. Buy, like, for example, if you drink Starbucks every single day, Starbucks might be one that you would want to buy. Like, I drink a lot of Starbucks, and for a period of time, I owned the Starbucks stock for 5 years because I like to drink it, and so it made sense to me. Okay, I'm gonna buy that. Another thing that I like to buy, I owned Aritzia for a period of time because I like Aritzia. Like, that made sense to me. So I'm not saying that you should buy individual stocks. You should probably look into ETFs first, actually, before you look into stocks, but that is a good place to start. I hope that that could have been a good little beginner video. Comment down below what you guys think. I would love to hear it, and I will see my Cobra babies in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.